Hi, good afternoon everybody. My name's Guy Riddle. Got quite a few people on already, so I thought rather than holding everybody up, we'll go ahead and make a start. And then as others join, they can catch up. So first of all, thank you for taking some time out of what is probably for most people their last afternoon before the Easter break. Thank you for taking the time. What I'd like to do over the next 30 minutes or so, and just give you some opportunity to ask anybody to ask questions at the end, is just to introduce you to a project that eSavvy has been working on in terms of looking at the mobile market and the mobile strategies around CRM. And as far as that is concerned, we've actually created a mobile solution, a framework, and I'm going to actually give you a demonstration of that as well towards the end. So first of all, just to set the scenes, my name, as I said, is Guy Riddle. What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to our CRM solution and position how we can help, what the benefits and features are. I'm going to talk a little bit about the concept term that's appearing in the marketplace today about BYOD, or bring your own device, and then we'll finish up with a demo, and at the very end, questions. Okay, so first of all, I know there's a few people on the who have joined the call but haven't met me before. My name is Guy Riddle. I'm a solution architect at eSavvy. I've been working with Dynamics CRM since 2002, so a little bit over 10 years now, and I've seen the product go through its entire life cycle of all the different releases, right away from the very beginning. In fact, I was part of the original worldwide beta team for the product. As it's highlighted on the screen there, I'm a Microsoft MVP, what Microsoft call our most valuable professional. That gives me access directly to the CRM R&D team in Redmond in Seattle, who solicit for feedback in the product and how the product is evolving. So they like to get feedback from, I guess, what you might put into perspective as real-world audiences, from people like myself and others around the world who are actually implementing CRM on a day-to-day basis. So it gives us the ability to have direct input from a long-term perspective overall the whole product strategy. So for those of you who are new to eSavvy, I know there's some people also who are not our current customers. We are a Microsoft Gold Certified partner. We specialize in Dynamics CRM. Of course, we have to know a lot about other Microsoft technologies in terms of databases and email servers, web servers, the whole desktop, laptop environment, and all the necessary connectivity mechanisms that sit in the middle, all the plumbing. We don't lead or actually take on projects around those other technologies, but we do have experts on staff who actually know about all the other infrastructure elements of how CRM is installed and configured inside a network. Because we have customers who are running CRM what's referred to as on-premise. Some of you are running CRM online at the Microsoft data centers. And the nice thing is, of course, it's one code base, so people do have that ability to choose how and where they want to deploy the solution. We've had some great recognition over the past few years, as you can see from some of the logos there, in terms of our skill sets, our customer feedback, our reputation in the market for delivering good CRM deployments for customers. We have somewhere around 150 plus in deployments of CRM across both on-premise, online, geographically spread from Sydney, Queensland, across to Perth. And we also have customers that are actually using CRM in a global perspective. So, for example, Servcorp is listed there. They're using CRM in 40 countries globally, with their worldwide headquarters based here in Sydney. And they're running the CRM online service out of the Microsoft data center in Singapore. So Microsoft themselves are actually making a lot of moves to improving the product. And so, of course, with us, with our customers, with our access to Microsoft, we're able to help organizations get the best out of the product. And in turn, down at the bottom, we have 100% of our customers who have been surveyed by Microsoft independently of us said they would refer us. So we feel quite proud of our capabilities and our claims to fame with what we've achieved in the time that we've been implementing CRM. So a little bit about us. Let's move on to the main subject at hand. One of the challenges today is that there's a plethora of devices out in the marketplace, ranging from phones to tablets to laptops, obviously desktop systems as well. And a lot of these products are actually priced and aimed at the consumer market. So what often happens in organizations is a member of staff will turn up one day in the office and show everybody their new fancy mobile phone or their new fancy tablet that they bought from the local store, or JB Hi-Fi or Harvey Norman's, wherever they got it from. But one of the first things they want to do is walk up to someone in IT and say, hey, can I get my email on this, please? Or can I get access to my file directory and my folders? And so what's happening is this is causing a little bit of a challenge in the IT organization. And one of the things that we have done is we've actually seen that through a local retailer's website, we just went on to a local retailer website, and one is online purchasing, and there's over 60 different tablet-based form factors and devices that are available, with a lot of them under $1,000. So they're very much being priced at the audience of consumers. And what that often means is that individuals aren't waiting for the company to provide them with a new state-of-the-art laptop, tablet, mobile phone. They're actually going out and buying their own. But what they then want to do is to be able to connect that to the corporate network and get access to their applications. Email's the most obvious one, but then it starts to grow beyond that to say, well, I've got access to email. Why can't I get access to SharePoint? Where, if the organization's running Link as the Microsoft communicator, they want to be able to add Link to that to those devices as well, and so they can actually have instant messaging and chat when they're out of the office. Now, there's two schools of thought around this. One is that this creates a massive nightmare for the IT organization because now the ability to control these devices is somewhat limited based on the technology that's provided. But the benefit to a certain degree is that you now have staff wanting to be, I guess, more productive, use their devices when they're away from the office, traveling to work on the bus, when they're at home in the evenings. And so it brings about a whole series of challenges. The key thing is that the price point isn't going to change. We now have seen through, I guess most prolifically, Apple with the iPad generations, followed by Google with the Android software and the Android tablets and phones, and all the phone manufacturers and the tablet manufacturers are really trying to drive into that mass market, into that consumer-based space. So it's definitely not going to go away. It's not going to change. What we have to do as IT professionals or as business people is work out how we can actually bridge the gap between this plethora of devices and actually giving people access to corporate applications in a way that is able and accessible. So mobility isn't going to change. So one of the things is with your bringing your own device is the next step. So that is bringing your own application. So what organizations are wanting is the ability to be able to provide their applications on these devices. So we can, I'm sure many of you on the call will have some kind of either smartphone or even tablet, and you'll know that you can just go to the relevant store, whether it's Google Play, the iTunes Store, or the Microsoft Store. If you're one of the lucky folks who have a Surface RT or even a Surface Pro, or even one of the independent manufacturers are also delivering a wealth of Windows 8 based devices out there, is about the applications. One of the challenges today is that with all the different stores, the actual manufacturers of these applications are actually having trouble keeping up, and they're trying to keep up with obviously iTunes and the iTunes Store for both iPhone and also the iPad has had a huge take-up. So wherever you see an application being advertised, it is always invariably going to be advertised as it's available on the iTunes Store. You're also now seeing that Android is also picking up in popularity when organizations advertise, hey, we've got an app, it's on the iTunes Store. Often you'll find that it's available on Android via Google Play. Microsoft are making very big inroads into their own store. It's just, again, they're a late player into the market. It's just taking a little bit longer to get that adoption rate up. But for any of you who do have either a Windows Phone or Windows 8 device, you'll see that there are thousands of applications coming up on the Windows platform. So what's happening now is users aren't sitting back anymore, almost waiting for the IT team to be able, the IT department to say, hey, you know, we've got a new application, it's being developed, and it's going to be available over, you know, whatever the time frame is. What's happening now is, and we're seeing this a lot, is it's at the sharp end of the business, in the sales side of the business, on the service side of the business, the people who are out on the road, the people who want more mobility in their life and want to use tablets and phones as their tool of choice to help them fulfill their business requirements. It's those people who are coming back demanding that they have applications available for the various devices. So one of the challenges for any organization is today, what applications do you make available, and then what applications do you make available on which platforms? So how do you choose a platform? Some organizations will make decisions based on other technologies. They'll standardize on Apple or they'll standardize on Windows, and some will say, well, we'll let anybody bring their own application. But nevertheless, it's something that all IT departments are having to deal with today. So with the application store, this is causing some challenges with IT security. Gartner predicts that by 2017, 25% of enterprises will have an enterprise application store. So in other words, some internal mechanism of bring your own application to help reduce IT costs. Enterprises will need custom business applications that support multiple different platforms across their entire network. So obviously the things that we're seeing today are the things that are readily available. Like I can get my email, I can synchronize my calendar. Some devices will allow you to synchronize your tasks as well. So if you're traditionally using Microsoft Outlook and the Exchange server, you'll be able to synchronize all of those capabilities. The next thing that's available on all those devices today is Lync. So if you're using Lync, that's available as an application. Microsoft's business application called OneNote is also available on all those devices automatically today, and that all synchronizes back to your either cloud service or your SkyDrive, even from that perspective. So what's happening is applications are starting to be fulfilled. What's going to happen now, and what is happening now, is our staff, our users, our salespeople, our service people, they're starting to say, yeah, but what I want is I want my customer information. I want my sales information. In other words, a lot of your CRM system. Some organizations who have a large ERP systems, manufacturing, distribution, wanting to have all of those pieces of information available on the mobile device. So when they're out with a customer, they're able to be able to say, yes, I can order this product, we've got it in stock, it's at this particular warehouse, I can order it and it will be with you day after tomorrow. And what color do you want and how many? So what's happening is it's creating some big challenges. So what we're doing is we've actually looked at creating a CRM framework for delivering mobile Microsoft CRM as a mobile application. And what we've looked at is, rather than tying it to one particular platform, is actually look at making it available to a number of different platforms. So the Android and Apple, and also on the Microsoft platform as well. So in other words, Windows 8. What we've also done is recognise that not everybody has an ability to have a good either 3G or 4G connection all the time. We have some customers who actually go into retail stores in large shopping centres like your Westfields, and as I'm sure you all know, sometimes when you're inside a retail store you can't make a phone call because the signal is so weak. So we can't always rely on 3G, 4G or even Wi-Fi. So we've actually looked at how we can create a caching environment in order to be able to store information offline as well. What we've done in terms of, I said, framework. So what we've done is we've created a framework that's open architected and customizable. I've got a couple of slides in a minute for some of you who maybe have a technical background and just want a little bit more understanding of the architecture. And what we have done is created an open customizable framework. So rather than creating a shrink-wrapped packaged mobile application for CRM where it's all locked in, tied down, done and dusted in a nice pretty bow, we've actually tried to create something that is customizable for each customer as the needs arise. What that means is we could also look at skinning it to put in the right kind of colors and fonts, logos, to make it more of a personalized application, which is really where we're coming from, because this is where we've seen a lot of our customers asking, and prospects that we've been talking to have been asking for something that's more tailored, more customized, more personalized to meet their particular business requirements. We use the same code base across all the devices. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And therefore, what we do is our kind of model is that the base framework is low cost. In other words, we license it for free, although there will be a small basically setup and configuration charge. We need to configure it to each organization's server. What we've also done is thought about and tried to cater for notifications and analytics. So I've got a slide that talks about that in a little bit more detail coming up, so if you bear with me, I'll cover that in a little bit more detail. So what we're talking about here is we're not unique in the market. I know some of you on the call have actually been evaluating other Microsoft CRM mobile solutions and capability. And so we put together just a little chart to sort of just help sort of where we're coming from a little bit. So in the first column is some of the capabilities, key capabilities that we have people asking for, and then some of the solutions going across the top. I would also suggest that where we've got CWR at the top, Resco, I know some of you on the call have looked at Resco. So what I would suggest is that Resco and CWR fall into that sort of same column category. The comment at the end there is Microsoft currently have an iPad client, so some of you may be on the CRM Online service, where with the recent update that went through, it allows you to actually connect an iPad to your CRM service. I don't know if any of you have tried that on the call, but that is now available on the online service. However, the problem with that is it's very fixed. It's pretty much hard-coded to what Microsoft call the COLAC entities. That's the lead, the opportunity, the contact, and the account. And the fields and capabilities that you see are very much structured around that sort of capability. CWR do provide some scripting now on the front-end client, so they're actually looking at doing that. And I'm sure as time will go by and eventually Microsoft and CWR and Resco, etc., will increase what they're delivering. One of the things is down the bottom, as per the previous slide, we've looked at push notifications and analytics within the device as well. And again, I'll cover that in a moment. Now, for those of you who are technical, there's a couple of slides here. Those of you who are not technical, if you bear with me for a minute, there's only a couple of slides here, but I just want to explain some of the architecture. So there's different ways in which mobile applications can be built. There's native applications, so in the top left-hand corner, there's native applications. Typically they're built for a specific platform operating system in mind. In other words, the application needs very high and very deep access to device capabilities. That's typically what a native application is. On the bottom right-hand corner are basically the mobile web apps. Many years ago, when web apps started coming out, they were basically running a mobile, basically a website. Those of you who use, for example, some of the banking applications today, they're a little bit of a combination between a native app and a mobile app, not necessarily true hybrid apps, but for example, the actual, you store a little app on your device, but as soon as you start doing any of your internet banking, you're actually running it on a mobile web server, so you're not actually, the screen that you see for showing your accounts, your balances, your transactions, none of that is actually on your device at all. It's all running off the respective bank's web server. So in other words, it's a mobile application effectively that's running on the device. But that means that the banks can actually therefore have a high level of security, and they can also have be platform agnostic or be across multiple devices. Hybrid applications are applications that are basically built once but can be deployed in multiple different operating systems and multiple different device frameworks. And this is effectively where we've chosen to move towards with our technology stack, and that is applications that are trying to take advantage of new technologies like HTML5, which can be run across multiple platforms, and using JavaScript, which can also run on multiple applications. They can still give us access to the native APIs, and the application can still be distributed by the various stores, so whether it's Google Play, the Microsoft Store, or in fact the Apple iTunes Store. So we have a series of technologies that we utilize for building. I'm not going to go through this in huge details, but effectively we use web technologies like HTML5, cascading style sheets, and JavaScript, and then the applications run inside a native container, and therefore we're able to access the device's browser engine, and then we render HTML and JScript or JavaScript locally to process the instructions. So we're using a combination. We're actually, so the architecture is basically that, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got Microsoft Dynamics CRM. We need, effectively, if you like, an interpreter sitting in the middle. That's the server in the top. For those of you who have had any familiarity with the BlackBerry world will be quite familiar with this architecture. So you have a BlackBerry device talks to a BlackBerry server, and the BlackBerry server talks to the Exchange mail server. So it's a little bit like this from a concept as well. So we can have multiple clients, so whether it's an iPhone, an Android phone, a Windows Surface, an iPad, talking to using basically JSON as the language communicator, talking to web services sitting on the server, and then they talk backwards and forwards dynamically to the CRM server. Now, in terms of the architecture, we use basically a combination of two technologies: Accenture Touch, which gives us the UI, and then Titanium, which gives us effectively the coding that sits underneath. So one's the UI and one's the code. On the right-hand side, I mentioned this earlier on, we looked at push notifications and analytics. Some of the feedback that we've had from customers previously is, one is from a central administrative point of view, or sales management or service management perspective, we'd like to update our users to particular pieces of information. So while they're within the app, we might want to actually utilize the capability of push notifications. So what we've done is we've built push notifications into the framework itself that allows you. So in a third-party applications, what it would do is it would look at engaging customers who are using the app and potentially drive traffic to your website. When it's internally based, you might be actually driving your salespeople, your service people to an intranet site for maybe there's a new product, maybe there's some new product brochures. Maybe you're pushing notifications to say, hey, don't forget there's a rush on for the end of this quarter for a special offer or special sets of deals, that kind of thing. The other side of it is, how are your people using the system? So again, how products like analytics are being used. I will guarantee that there are some applications that you've got installed on your smart devices that will have some form of analytics installed in them. In other words, the vendor is tracking how you're using their application, how you're navigating to. So think of it like a website. Today, most organizations are doing web analytics. They're tracking where your landing page is, how you navigate through the application, what pages you go to most often. So Flurry is a technology that we built into the framework that effectively provides analytics that you can actually start having a look at effectively how the application is being used throughout the business. Okay, so enough talking. What I'm going to do now is introduce you to the application that we've got. Hopefully you should be able to see a screen that I've got on my that I'm showing to you. Now, you might look at that and go, "Oh, that looks a bit strange." Funny sort of shaped screen. Now, what we're doing is, because I can't show you, an iPhone or an Android phone in my, that I've got in my hand, because we're doing this over a webinar, of course. What we're doing is we're running this as an emulator. Now, this to some degree proves the point about portability. This is the native application, but running inside a web browser. I'm just running this inside Google Chrome, and this is so. In other words, the application can be deployed on and run through a website. It can be run on a Windows phone. It can be run on an iPhone. It can be run on an Android phone. What I'll do is I'll show you an iPad version of this in a moment. So we'll have a quick look at the phone-based device, and then we'll flip to the other one. Now, through the website, because I've got a maximum screen open, sometimes some of the resizing looks a little bit different. But as you can see, it's quite long. because of the way the page is rendering on the website. So when we go into the application, now one of the things that you'll notice, it's got our logo at the top there, it's got our icons and things, and one of the things is that, of course, we have the capability to do is to be able to, for a customer, is to be able to effectively personalize it. So this is where we've had organizations and prospects and customers say to us, look, we'd love to be able to personalize the application so that we can showcase to our users, our salespeople, our service people, that it's our application on their device. So that's when I talk about the ability to be able to effectively skin this and change the logos and the icons and that sort of thing. So imagine this as your iPhone. I'm just going to scroll across from one page to another. So we have that native sort of scrolling capability that you kind of know and love if you're an iPhone user, that's within there. We put a few entities on here. Those of you who are familiar with CRM will recognize some of the terminology that's on here. So for example, we have something called the wall. This is the CRM record wall. I apologize for the dummy data that's sitting in here. I noticed it earlier on that our developers have been playing around with the dummy data. So effectively, what this is showing you is your record wall. So those of you who are using activity feeds inside CRM today, and you go to your What's New page, where it's actually rendering up all of the posts that either have been made by users or they are system posts around new leads being created, an opportunity status has changed, a new opportunity has been created, an opportunity has been won or lost, and that's what they are. And so from here I can just click on it and it will give me the details around that particular opportunity. I'll come back to an opportunity a little bit later. So it just gives you that ability. So those of you who are actively using activity feeds, we've actually just surfaced the wall up, and there's a search button on there as well. What we've also got on here are leads. So when I click on leads, I can look at the various leads that I've got. I can come in here, I can change, do I only want to see the hot, warm, cold ones? Do I want to see the status? I only want to see the new ones? That kind of thing. So some of the things that you would expect to be able to do is basically being provided for. Someone's created a new lead for Barack Obama, which is interesting. So basically this is just bringing in, again, some basic pieces of information that allow me to be able to do my job. From here I could look at the wall. Are there any posts on this particular lead? Have I got any activities that are related to this lead? Down the bottom, as you can see on the bottom left-hand corner, I can add an activity, I can add a note. And what I can also do is I can actually click on the map, and then I can zoom in, zoom out of the map. This was, I think it was 100 George Street, I think it said on the address. And then I can see all my notes aggregated up, if I've got any notes on the record as well. I also have the ability down the bottom here to either disqualify the lead. Maybe I've just been to see President Obama and decided that it's no go, we're not going to win that, there's no opportunity here for us, and I might want to disqualify the lead, or I might want to convert it to an opportunity. So I have that capability here. Or I can go in, and I can actually edit the lead itself, and I can go in and add the fields accordingly. Now, for those of you who are current active CRM users, what I'd just like to point out here is that the fields that we're displaying here are the current, effectively out-of-the-box CRM effectively fields, because we obviously know they're going to be in every CRM provisioning process. This, of course, can be additional fields can be added. I'm just looking. Someone's just posted a question. Give me 1 second. I'll just read the question. Okay, so someone's asking about Twitter feeds coming in. There is a capability to right now to pull to monitor and bring in tweets about perhaps your company, for example, or product into CRM. There's an add-on solution. I'll get someone to follow that up with who's that put that in? Paul. So I'll get someone to follow that up for Paul, who posted that. There is a solution that allows you to either tweet from CRM, but also to be able to consume information that's in the Twitter world coming in about your products or service, and then automatically be able to convert those into leads, or if there are problems and issues, convert them into cases. So, so that capability does exist. So we have leads here. We have opportunities here. So again, just trying to give you some idea of some of the capabilities we have. This is on my screen here. I've got my web page slightly out of sync here. It's showing me a dynamic chart of, it's just gone a little bit out of sync, apologise for that, of the opportunities and where they sit in the pipeline. So in other words, what's a proposal stage, what's that qualify stage, what's that negotiation stage, etc. And then there's another one about how they're rating. So just some visual representation of how your opportunities are sitting within there. I can do the same thing from here. I can go into a particular opportunity. I can mark it if I'm out in the field and the customer says, here you are, thanks very much, here's your order. I can close it as one. Obviously that's the positive. If it's not, then obviously I can close it as lost. I can add activities. I can add notes directly from here, or I can click and I can actually go through and edit the opportunity. Maybe I want to change the amount of the opportunity. I want to enter in a probability, that sort of thing. So that capability exists within here as well. We've also put contacts. I'm not going to go through every one of these. I think you're probably getting the idea here. On page 2 here, we've also put in accounts so that we can see all our customers, and that's grouped by alphabetical, and I can just slide up and down the page and that sort of thing. So this all works in a similar kind of conceptual way. We've also got cases on here. We found that a lot of customers either receive issues when they're out on site with a customer. So I can just quickly open up the application, add a new case, link it to, put it in a topic, link it to a particular account, give it a description, and know that will then hit the back-end CRM server. CRM will then kick in and actually take care of the escalation process for me from that point of view. On the calendar side of things, we've obviously got CRM activities. So these are all my activities, and from here I can clearly go and create a new one. One of the things we've also looked at doing is a lot of customers, so they want to be able to directly link in the calendar to the calendar on their device. So on my device here, you'll see a lot of data coming in here. This is just again in a development or test environment where we've actually got a lot of appointments that have been created. So this is now linking in and bringing in my sort of aggregated, consolidated calendar, and then I can start drilling in by just waiting for this to load up all this dummy data. I can then scroll across and go through the months. I can focus on a week. Just go back to it. So I can scroll through the weeks, or I can go into particular days and follow. Let's go to today. So there's a couple in there. So this allows me to integrate with my calendar. We also have in the settings area. I'll just quickly touch on this. The settings area holds a couple of pieces of information at the moment. First of all, the personal information. When we effectively who you are as an identity. So think of that like registration, so who the application is being used by. But we've also got an offline option. So this is where we could potentially, for certain things, turn the caching of data on or off. So, for example, you might say, look, I really want my activities, my leads, my contacts, my opportunities, and my accounts to be always available when I'm working offline, but I'm really not worried about cases, my goals, or any reports. We haven't filled out any of the reporting area yet, but I'll cover that in a second. So we might not be interested in that. So that just allows you to toggle stuff on and off as to how much is being cached on the local device. The other area that I want to, so that's the application running effectively in what we call a phone form factor. So that's your Android, your iPhone, or your Windows phone. If I go over to, I'm just going to change interfaces here. Okay, log into this one, which is a slightly different form factor. And this is now the same application, but rendering in a portrait-style iPad mode. So effectively, it's the same application. The only thing we've done is effectively refactored using Accenture the user interface to be more tablet form factor. So a common presentation layer for a tablet, and this is an example of an iPad, is to put the buttons down, going down the left-hand side. So first of all, I've got a little dashboard. These are my opportunities in the various sales stages. I'm showing a trend of my sales pipeline based on estimated close dates. And then conceptually down the left-hand side, we've got the similar things that we had a little while ago, but on my actual broader, bigger form factor. So in other words, on an iPad. So the same data elements. I've got my wall, my calendar. Again, now that's bringing in my calendar. And then the individual, then I can actually drill into, in the same, you can see the controls at the top, I can drill into a week or a day or scroll through the months. I've got my leads in the same way down the left-hand side. I'll just wait for this calendar to finish loading. Unfortunately, with a large volume of test data has been put in here to test it. Okay, so we've got our leads. So basically, this is now running in a form factor geared more towards a tablet. In the settings area, again, we have one extra option in here. We have the personal information and the offline option, as we had before, and you can see that it's stored my profile. So when I said off for cases, goals, and reports, it actually, then when I opened up the iPad version, it was similar. So let me just go back. In the customized dashboard, so the idea is that we've actually put a few different dashboards together, so I can switch particular ones on or off, and that will then change what appears for me on the dashboard screen at the front. Again, depending upon what I want to render. Now I've got leads qualification at the top, as opposed to the sales stage at the top. So that just gives me that flexibility and capability. Right, we're pretty much on 2:45, which was my time allocated. Unless anybody has any particular questions they want to ask, we can follow up with individuals on a case-by-case basis if needs be. We'll follow up with Paul, I think it was, who asked about the tweets. I'd like to, first of all, thank you very much for your time and spending the time to have a look at our mobile solution. And if anybody wants to ask any follow-up questions, please feel free to either contact us through let me just go back. I'll put my slide back up so I've got my details. So my details are on the screen there. My email is guy.riddle@esavvy.com.au. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions or you'd like to have a more personalized view or look at the application. We'd be happy to do that. So once again, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and everybody have a fantastic Easter. Thank you.